Hello and welcome. What a pleasure it is to be bringing you some new classes from this channel. I really appreciate all of the comments that you guys make and the suggestions for postures and types of classes to cover are really welcome. So please, if you're interested in something in particular that you want to see, make a comment on one of the videos. On that, it's going to be such a joy to be bringing you some meditation videos, some breathwork videos, and just some other teachings that I find really effective and interesting about yoga. So hopefully you'll enjoy some new stuff coming off this channel, and you'll stick around to check it out. So I wanted to tell you about a couple of trainings coming up later this year. The first one is for people who just want to advance their practice or become a yoga teacher. So it's a Yoga Alliance certified 200-hour training, which is taking place in Bali, very exciting, on an immersive journey for 16 days with 2 weeks online that takes place just before that. And the other training is like a postgraduate training for people who have already done their teacher training or are just even a little bit more interested in some of the depths of yoga and have some foundation around it. So this postgraduate 150-hour teacher training is again immersive in Bali. It's 12 days and we're covering 5 subjects. Now, you don't have to be a yoga teacher necessarily, but some foundation of yoga would probably be best. So if you're interested in some more information on those teacher trainings, there's a link below or in the banner on the channel. Hey, let's get into this yoga, shall we? Mayurasana, lengthy class. Let's get stuck in. We'll start in a seated position. Once you've established your seated position, cross-legged's great, kneeling works just as well. Let's go ahead and shut down the eyes. Just settling into the body for a few moments here. Pretty immediately removing any sense of urgency. Your responsibilities and obligations become more finely tuned towards your own sense of well-being. And so here, bring the content of your mind towards your body, as in become aware of your body on a much broader scale, starting to absorb all throughout the body, every sensation you can, whether it's physical, energetic, emotional or mental. But the content of your mind turns inward. Of course, my voice acts as an anchor and a guidance. And you have to share that load with responsibility for your own sense of well-being. And one of the best ways we can bring that about is through your breathing. So here, just become aware of the rhythm of your breath, coming in and out of the body. And then build upon that rhythm with some slightly more conscious, slightly more deeper breath. So next time you inhale, just take a little further down towards the tailbone. As you breathe out, bring some more smoothness to the exhale and slow it down. We start a process of deepening, slowing, and making the breath more conscious. Just for a few rounds here, and by yourself, breathe in for 5 seconds and breathe out for 5 seconds. More than anything here, you're creating a coherence. Your body, your mind, and your breath are all moving together in unison, in coherence. 5 in, 5 out. But just remember to infuse that kind of mood of of well-being. It might come through as gentleness or softness, but let the breath kind of float in and out of the body for a 5 count on the in, 5 count on the out. Just a few rounds by yourself now. After your next exhale, drop the count on the breath, but maintain the pace. So something a little bit more intuitive now, but your entire breath rate has dropped right down. Mirroring that is your heart rate and your mind rate. And so we'll keep the breath as this kind of braking and accelerating system for the body. You can slow things down and you can speed things up. For the most part, we'll just try and taper off a little on the breath there. So slowing it down, smoothing it out. And we'll use that kind of stability in the breathing to encourage sustainability in the postures and physiological efficiency. Let's start to move the body, shall we? Blink open the eyes. Inhale to raise up the arms nice and high. Exhale and twist to your right. So your left hand catches the thigh, right hand on the floor behind you. Lower back lifting for just 2 breaths here. The chest drawing through the shoulders so you feel like a nice broad chest. One more breath. And then raise up the arms, come back through center. Just a very gentle twist. Over to the other side, catching the thigh, hand behind you, lower back lifted so the spine feels tall and vertical. Another big breath here. And then inhale, come up through center, reach up, and then roll over the knees and we'll come into cat-cow. So onto tabletop, hands and knees position. We'll get straight into that movement. So start with the tailbone. As you inhale, tilt the tailbone up, and as you exhale, tilt the tailbone under. Now not much spinal movement just yet. Tailbone lifting up as you inhale. And now as you arch through your upper back, let that carry the tailbone down a little further. And then let's build. So pressing the belly down now, tilting the tailbone up and lifting the chest. And then doing the opposite and rounding the upper back. Really suck the belly in there too. You carry on now, a few more rounds by yourself. Just moving sort of fluidly, rhythmically. And one of the key aspects to involve here is the synchronicity of your breath and movement together. And that's reinforcing that coherence between body, mind, and energy. There's a sense of somatic presence that's there. Just take one more round now. Dip to the arch, a nice few sets through here. Sets? Reps. Reps is the one. Let's not bring gym jargon into this, shall we? We had come up into downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift up the hips and make a little bit of movement. So pedaling out the legs and swaying the hips a little, maybe from side to side. And there's 2 more breaths in this down dog. Nice and sort of soft through the knees, through the shoulders, through the wrists, all these kind of sensitive places. And starting to walk your hands back towards your feet into a forward fold at the back of your mat. Uttanasana, or more of a ragdoll here, so a little bend in the knees, letting the whole upper body really just drape over the legs and maybe a little bit of swaying. Feel the weight of the head kind of drawing the vertebrae of the neck apart. That's nice. We'll take 2 more big breaths there, just sort of loosening off the spine a little bit here, swaying a little if you like. And then a deeper bend into the knees. Roll up your spine through standing, kind of driving your hips forward as you're coming up. Roll up, squeeze the glutes and reach up for the ceiling. And then very simply interlace the hands behind the lower back.
Now don't go crazy with this, but roll back the shoulders and squeeze the palms before you fold again. Nothing too intense on the top of the shoulders. Don't squeeze too hard there, but do squeeze the palms. We soften the neck and just take 2 more big breaths. Release, hands to the ground. Walk them all the way out into plank position. Shoulders above your wrists. Short kind of hold here, but nonetheless we pause. Thighs strong, and the butt dips down a little bit. Shoulders push the ground away, so you feel rounded like a turtle back. And this turtle back feeling is going to be key. We'll just take 1 more breath. And then drop the knees and lower yourself all the way down until you're flat onto the floor. Taking the hands just off the side of the mat, not too far. Inhale to lift the chest up into cobra. And then an exhale to take yourself back down. You carry on a few more rounds by yourself, but come up onto the fingertips if you're not already, just so you're not using the hands quite so much to control the movement. And we try and bring the focus into the lower back. More so the muscles that support the entire spine, kind of engaging to lower you down slower. Let's take 3 more reps. And as you're easing your way down, you should feel a little bit of grip through the glutes, feet nice and pointed. Last round for all of us. And as the chest lowers down, pushing back through tabletop, hands and knees position, and then straight up into downward facing dog. Lifting up the hips. As soon as you're there, a walk towards the top of the mat. Feet coming forward now, step by step, a little bit of stimulation for the hamstrings. And inhale to halfway lift, flatten out your back. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale to stand up tall, reach up for the ceiling and pause there. Catch opposite elbows above your head. Exhale and lean to your left, squeezing your right glute nice and tight. 1 big breath here at the bottom. Inhale back up through center, so the glutes are nice and tight as you lean over to your right, and especially you feel your left glute working hard, your butt cheek. The hand pulls the elbow for 1 big breath. Inhale back through center, raise up the arms. Exhale to fold forward, hands to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift, flatten out your back. Step back to plank and pause, shoulders above your wrists. Now, this is a little tricky, we do some work. Drop your knees to the floor for just a moment and we'll start there. See if you can do your very best to lower your chest down but keep your arms straight. So you're dropping your chest between the shoulders and squeezing the shoulder blades back. It feels like you're trying to pinch the shoulder blades together. Now more than that, draw your shoulders down and away from the ears. So it's not just a squeeze together, but a down and together. To me, it kind of feels like my shoulder blades curl in together. Now, hold that for just 1 moment, squeezing. And this opposing position is key. Round your upper back, push the spine up between the shoulder blades, and really feel like you're kind of stretching the space between the shoulder blades. But it's more than that, you're engaging in that area. And keeping a feeling of the thumb and index finger pressing down. Keep this rounding upper back. I can already feel it starting to work and burn a little bit. But let's see if we can take this a little further. Keep that arch. Can't drop it. Keep it strong. Step the right foot back, plank, left foot back, plank. Now keeping, I can feel it. So nice big work for the shoulders. Breathing, glutes strong, thighs on. That can take some of the load here. Another big breath. Drop the knees and lower all the way down onto the floor. We're just setting up that movement for later. Hands off the side, same thing. Inhale to lift up the chest. And then exhale to lower back down. Just 2 more of these now, but maybe lift the chest a little higher. Work your flexibility now. Exhale to lower down. A little bit of grip through the glutes again. They're key. Inhale to lift. And exhale to lower down. Back through tabletop. And into downward facing dog, lifting up the hips. And as soon as you're there, 1 more big breath, a slowing exhalation, a smoothing exhalation. We stay connected. And feet coming up to the top of the mat now. Walk, step or jump. Inhale to halfway lift, flatten out your back. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale to stand tall, reach up all the way for the ceiling. Exhale to fold straight back in. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen out. Step or jump back into chaturanga, bent elbows. Inhale through to upward facing dog, chest pulls through. And then exhale to lift the hips up and back into down dog. 2 big breaths there. Lifting the hips, yet lowering the heels. And then gently walk, step or jump to the top of the mat. Looking forward, bend the knees and up you come. Inhale to halfway lift as you arrive. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale to stand tall, reach up nice and big. Exhale, push the hips back as you fold forward and come down. Inhale, halfway lift again. Step or jump back into chaturanga. Inhale through to upward facing dog. And then exhale to find downward facing dog. 2 big breaths there in down dog. Again, slowing the exhale. Every opportunity to contrast the intensity of the practice with a very conscious self-soothing through the breath. Let's just take one more breath there. No rush, no urgency. Inhale. Right leg raises up towards the ceiling. Hello, plants. Exhale, knee to the nose. Pull it in nice and tight. Inhale, lift the leg back up. Exhale to tap the right elbow. Squeeze it in. Inhale, back up. Exhale to step the foot in between the hands. Now, puff the chest forward a little longer on fingertips. I like to extend my stance here, but you feel it out. Reach your right hand forward, out over the end of the mat, and then up into the twist. But we feel that nice engagement in the back leg remaining. We just take 2 more big breaths here. And now, sweep the hand right back where it came from. So reaching it out over the end of the mat, over the head, and then straightening through the front leg, releasing the hand to the floor and folding forward. Just a brief stop here. Settle your right hip back a little bit. 1 more breath and we're going to connect these couple of movements together. Let's go. Inhale to lunge, reach forward and up so the arm feels long. And then exhale forward and again down to fold. Let's do 2 more. Inhale to lunge, reach forward and up. And exhale forward and down to fold. Nice big reach. Last one. Inhale to reach and twist. And exhale to fold forward. This time, take the twist into side plank. Reach forward and up. Step your right foot back on top of the left and hold. Lift the hips like a rainbow shape. Hold for just 1 more breath. Now, do your very best with this. Lift the right leg away from the left one and do your best to step the foot up to the top of the mat. Set the back knee down. Whew. Inhale, arms up. Exhale to straighten through the front leg and fold forward. Might have to move the front hip a little further forward. 2 more big breaths here, not very long at all. Start to just lightly bend into the front knee. We're just going to reorganize here. So right hand comes inside the left shin. Turn your back shin out to your right. So you're going to face the left hand side of your mat. Extend the stance and raise up the arms. And we come towards gate pose. So in this shape, squeeze the left glute first, nice and tight. And then right hand towards the knee or the floor. And the left hand then reaching up before it goes over. Glorious side bend. And starting to press the hips a little further forward here, leaning back to counter that weight of the hips. Another big breath as you are. Lifting the chest up, placing the left hand down onto the floor at the back of your mat. Spin your right foot to the ground and do your best here. Right hand up, pick up the left knee and tap it into the elbow. Now 2 times, stick with me. Kick it out to the side, tap the elbow. Last one, kick. This time tap the elbow, right hand down, flip the leg over into wild thing, turn the hips, rotate the chest, lift, 2 big breaths. And then left foot stepping back between the hands, that's the back of your mat. Skandasana to the other end of the mat. Lower the hips to the right heel at the top of your mat. Go gently, a little bend in the left knee. It's early days for Skandasana, but chest up, settling into the right heel, into the Achilles, into the calf. One more breath. Pretty simple stuff here. Turn to the right hand side, to the back to the top of the mat, and simply step up. Big toes to touch, to take an inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold in. Inhale to stand tall, reach up, nice and big. Exhale to fold forward, and we're coming through a flow. Inhale to halfway lift again. Chaturanga, step or jump back into bent elbows. Inhale to up dog, chest pulls through, and lifting the hips up and back into down dog, and two to three more slowing, smoothing breaths. So I think down dog needs a little bit of attention around the tailbone. So even if you're bending the knees a little bit, that's cool. That's actually really good for the knees. And then starting to tilt the tailbone up. To me, it feels like, look, I'll be a little bit crass, but it feels like I'm lifting my butt cheeks, the bottom of my butt cheeks, up towards the ceiling as I lower the heels down. And that brings it on really strongly at the back of the legs, but there's that contrasting engagement. Let's take one more big breath here. Nice long hold in dog. Inhale, left leg up, inhale. Exhale, knee to the nose, pull it in tight. Inhale, back up. Exhale to the left elbow, squeeze it in. Inhale, back up. And exhale to step the foot in between the hands. Extend the stance, tighten up the back thigh so the knee is straight. And let's go slow in the first round. Reach forward and up to twist. Hang out for a couple of breaths. Might have to hug the front knee in just a little bit. Just 2 more breaths now. And then reaching forward, over the head, and then down to straighten through the front leg. Inhale to lunge, reach forward and up, twist. And exhale forward and down to fold. Last one. Inhale, lunge, forward and up. And exhale forward and down. This time, carry it into side plank. Lunge, twist, step back, left foot on top of the right. Rotating to the outer right ankle. Now, do your best here. Starfish. Lift the left leg up, 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 up. Lift the hips with it. Knee to chest. And step up to the top of the mat. Whew. Drop the back knee. Inhale, arms up. Exhale to fold forward and straighten through the left leg. So, moving the front heel a little further forward. You might get the hips a bit better stacked above the back knee there. That's nice. Halfway lift again, and then fold in with a little bit more of a delicate touch. There's that infusion of well-being simply by bringing conscious awareness and intention into the posture. Another slow, easy breath. So a bit of faffing about before we go to gate. Left hand inside the left shin. Turn the back leg so you're now facing the right hand side of your mat. Raise up the arms. Front foot lifted so the ankle and shin is intensely active. As the left hand comes down, reaching up before you go over. Tight butt, keep the hip pressing forward, the right hip. 2 more big breaths. Up, up, up with the armpit. 1 more big breath. Lifting up. Place your right hand down towards the back of your mat. Spin the left foot flat. Let's do some work. Pick up the right knee. Tap it into the elbow. Strong back leg. Kick your right leg out to the side. 1 breath. Pull the knee into elbow tap. 1 more. Kick. Tap. Left hand down, flip the right leg over into wild thing. Rotate the hips. Right hand coming up. Breathing, holding, strong legs, strong left shoulder. 1 more big breath. And in 1 giant leap, right foot back between the hands. Skandasana at the other end. Drop the heel, drop your hips rather to the heel. Chest up, hands at prayer. 2 big breaths more. We carry on to the left, back to the top of the mat, step up. As soon as the feet touch, inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale to stand up, reach for the ceiling. Little back bend now. Squeeze the glutes. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale halfway. Step or jump back. Chaturanga, bent elbows. Inhale, up dog, chest pulls through. And down dog, lifting up the hips. 2 more breaths there and down dog. Inhale, right leg raises up. Exhale, step the foot in between the hands. Inhale, raise up the arms into crescent lunge. Now, as you come up into crescent, I'll come your way. Eagle wrap the right arm underneath the left one. So as you cross the upper arms and then the forearms, wrapping the arms up, start to strengthen through your back leg. Left glute, back heel lifted, thigh tie. Belly in, so you're feeling taller. And then start to lift the chest and the elbows up. Pull the arms away from the face and take 2 more big breaths here. Keep the lunge deep. 1 more big breath. And now as you, little wobbly, look back through to center, forward, unwrap the arms, straighten through the front leg as you lift up, and then rebend your front knee to twist to your right. Hands to prayer, hooking the elbow around the knee. You might extend the stance, I certainly did. And then keeping the back thigh nice and strong so the hips aren't moving, press the prayer a little deeper. Exhaling on the twist to go in a little further. 1 more. Inhale, arms up once again, crescent, straighten through the front leg. Now a little bit of a challenge for you. Sweep the arms back through to arrowhead, bend the front knee, interlace hands behind the lower back, and you've got to go slow from here. Roll back the shoulders, lift the back heel up, and begin to straighten through your front leg as you fold. Keep your big toe, your front big toe, pressing hard into the floor, working. 2 more big breaths. Release, hands to the ground. Back leg lifts up into standing splits. Now, we're really working this front leg right now. Stay cool, stay with me. Keep kicking upward. Bend the top knee and think about taking a foot with the right hand. Keep lifting the knee. Just 2 more big breaths. And as you step back and down into runner's lunge, shoot your right leg up and out into 3-legged dog. Bend at the knee, tilt the hip open. Exhale through the fallen triangle. Right knee to left elbow. Kick the leg out to the side. Now if you can, keep it off the floor, but no worries if it's coming down. Lift the hips, lift the left hand. 1 more breath. Now similar to before, tap the right knee to elbow. Left hand down, flip this into wild thing. Rotate the chest, rotate the hips. Lift, hold, breathe. 1 more. And then 1 big step. Right foot up between the hands or thereabouts. Warrior 2. Open out the arms. T-shape. Straighten the front leg and reach up and back. And then reaching forward again through Warrior 2 on your way to side angle. Right hand down. Top arm wrapping behind the lower back. You might like to keep the half bind, and it's super nice to just refine the half bind, like feel really consolidated in the half bind, rather than going into that real edge of intensity in the full bind. Work on the legs for today. Back leg nice and strong, front leg pressing a little to the right, and then rolling back your left shoulder. We'll just take 2 to 3 more breaths. Keep the back thigh strong. And then next inhale, stand up, release the bind, straighten the front leg and reach up and back. And now as you reach forward through the triangle, just shorten up the stance a little on the way. Reach as far forward as you can, sliding the hips back in space. And as the right hand comes down towards the shin, the left hand comes up. Now the back thigh and the butt nice and strong, the glute is on. Notice that my side body's fairly, I think, parallel to the floor and not bananaing through the side body. So keeping that sort of firmness. We take 2 more big breaths. And then really gently, left hand down to the floor, Skandasana at the back of your mat, turn the left foot out, sit the hips down, chest up. Just 2 big breaths, hands to prayer. Keeping the right leg nice and strong, switch to the other end, slide across and down. 1 more big breath here. Now walk the hands to the back of your mat and come up into crescent lunge. Inhale, raise up the arms. Exhale through the arrowhead, sweep your arms back as I adjust. And as you stand up, look forward, squeeze the right knee to the chest and come on up. Now, a couple of choices. You can grab the knee, maybe you grab the big toe for hand to foot, but if you're grabbing the knee, squeeze it in nice and tight, getting taller. Alternatively, again, cup the bottom of your foot. This is a little more tricky. Keep looking forward, send the hips back as you kick the leg out straight. Now lifting the leg up, keep drawing the chest over the thigh and take just 2 more big breaths there. Hang strong. And then if it's not already, lift the chest, swing the leg back, hands to the floor, Skandasana at the other end. Drop the heel, the butt rather to the right heel. Sink the hips nice and gently in. 2 more big breaths there. Inhale. Turn to the right, back to the top of the mat. Next inhale. Right leg raises up and out into 3-legged dog. Bend at the knee, lift the hip a little higher. 1 more big breath. And as you exhale, right knee to right elbow, either hold and stay there or kick the leg out to the right. 1 big breath. Knee in, heel up. Big inhale. Exhale to step the foot in between the hands. Inhale, raise up the arms. Exhale through the arrowhead. Now pause there for a sec. Tighten up the back thigh and knee. And with a bit of momentum, hands to prayer, warrior 3. T-shape, lift. Now in this warrior 3, kick strongly. Eagle wrap your right arm under the left. That should mess with your balance a little. Holding, breathing. 2 or 3 breaths. Now holding, breathing, keeping the back leg strong, belly in. Chest lifts just a little, 1 more breath. Keep the arms, step back, inhale, chest lifts up, crescent. Straighten through the front like this, you get a little wobbly now. Lift, 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 front big toe pressing. And as you unwrap the arms, rebend the knee, raise up, big inhale. And as the hands come to the ground, standing splits, back leg lifts up. Now, we're going to do a bit of weird work here. Exhale, left knee taps the back of the right calf. From there, hold. Kick your left leg out to the right hand side of your mat. Left hand to the left hand side of the mat. Lowering the hips and find yourself in Cleopatra in a very unorthodox way. Lifting the chest a little. Reaching to the right hand side of your mat. 1 more big breath. And now, take your time with this one. It's going to get a little tricky, a little peculiar. Start to swing your left leg, or the left heel rather. Bend the knee. So, take your time. It's going to get a little interesting. Start to bend your left knee. The one that's on the bottom, the straight one, bend that. Draw the heel in. And then roll the hips down, and hopefully you land in something like seated twist. Right hand just behind the hip, left hand up, and then hook the elbow around the knee, lifting the lower back. Now we can stay for about 5 big breaths there, or enter into Kundinasana. You hook the elbow a little deeper, and then shift body weight over to the right. And keeping this rounded upper back, shift body weight forward, over into the elbows, and maybe the legs lift up. So the right elbow is resting on the outer hip. Maybe the legs kick out from there and we hold. All sorts of interesting, fancy things. We take another couple of breaths, or you're right there in that seated twist. Beautiful, beautiful shape. From there, We're going to come out the same way we came in if we can. So left hand just outside the left hip. Kick the left leg out straight as you rock your body weight into that hand, and then standing splits. Lift up the hips, big inhale. Step back and down, three-leg dog finds a three-leg flow. Now keep that leg up and stiff. High plank to chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, and exhale. Lifting the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Now, again, recruit the exhalation. Take some time with it. Smooth it out, slow it down. 2 to go here. Next inhale, left leg up. Exhale, step between the hands, crescent lunge. Inhale, raising up. Eagle wrap on the arms, left arm wrapping underneath the right. Elbows pull away and the elbows start to lift, so forward and up. Back leg super strong, especially the glute. Lifting, lifting. 2 big breaths. And then looking forward, unwrap the arms and stand up. Big inhale. Really bend the front knee and twist to your left. Hook the elbow around, extend the stance, but land with the front knee above the ankle. Back leg straight as an arrow. A little bit of pressure. The left hand pushing into the right, waiting for that moment of the exhale to deepen. So we've got that nice coherence happening. Again, the body, the mind, your breath, i.e. energy, is all working together. One more. Inhale, arms up, crescent lunge. Might like to shorten the stance. Straighten the front leg momentarily and into arrowhead. Sweep the arms back. Interlace behind the lower back. Lift up the hands now in one movement. Straighten your front leg and fold. So the chest comes down as the hip goes back. Lifting the back heel. So nice and intense through the back leg. Relax the neck. 2 to 3 more breaths. Release. Hands to the ground, look forward, standing splits. The back leg lifts up, we're not here for too long. Bend the top knee. Reach the left hand for the foot, have a look for it. If you do get a hold of it, keep lifting the knee up and take maybe just 2 more breaths. Nice, step back and down, runner's lunge, 3-legged dog. The front foot lifts up and out. Bend at the knee, lift the hip a little higher, and into fallen triangle. Left knee to right elbow. Kick it out to the side. Back leg nice and strong, hips lifted. Another big breath. And as the right hand comes down, hug the knee in and flip it over into wild thing. Rotate the hips, left hand comes up. Inhale to levitate, lift and levitate. Elevate, hold. One more big breath. Good, and a big giant step, left foot coming up to the top of the mat for warrior 2. Spin the heel down at the back, open the arms, straighten the front leg. Let's keep moving. Reach up and back. And then reaching back through warrior 2 to come down into side angle. Left hand down. So we've got a deep bend in the front knee. The half bind now, wrapping the top arm. Back leg firm. And it's counterintuitive, but sometimes lifting the chest up a little bit helps to just find that sense of rotation on the top shoulder. Drawing it back so the chest is broad. 2 more breaths here. Inhale, stand up, straighten the front leg and reach up and back. And then reaching forward and down into triangle. So 2 straight legs. Again, you might want to shorten up the stance. I even like to turn my back foot in a little bit more. Right hand coming up. Nice steady breaths. Resisting the urge to go too far towards the floor. 2 more, maybe 3 more big breaths here. And as the right hand comes down, Skandasana at the back. Turn the back foot out, lower the hips in. A breath or two more here. Switch to the other end, down to the left heel. Over you go. Couple of breaths. Alright, in one kind of movement, crescent lunge at the back of the mat to your right. Walk the hands back, arms up, inhale, big breath. Exhale through the arrowhead, sweep your arms back. Inhale, look forward, left knee to the chest. Standing up, balance, belly in, standing legs strong. Now you catch the knee, and I mean squeeze it in towards the armpit, nice and tight. Or grab the big toe and kick. Or cup the bottom of the foot and really take this a little notch further. So standing legs starting to straighten just so it's nice and engaged. Kicking the heel out in front of you and letting the shoulders pull back to bring the chest forward. And out another 2 big breaths. If it's not already, hands to prayer, chest up, knee in, step the foot back and down, runner's lunge. Again, Skandasana to your left. Lower the hips to the front of the mat. Take another breath. Turn back to the left, to the original top of the mat to find 3-legged dog. The front foot lifts up and out. Bend at the knee, lift the hip. Exhale, left knee to left elbow. Or kick strongly out to the left. 1 breath. Inhale, lift it back up. Exhale to step the foot in between the hands for crescent lunge. Inhale, arms up. Let's keep moving. Exhale through the arrowhead. Sweep your arms back. With momentum. Hands to prayer, warrior 3. T-shape with the body. Kick strongly. Now, establish your balance. And then eagle wrap. Left arm underneath the right. Pull the elbows down, but lift the chest up. 2 more big breaths. Step back, raise up the chest, raise up the elbows. 1 big breath, straighten through the front leg. And then unwrap the arms, rebend the front knee, reach up, big inhale. Exhale, big inhale. Exhale through the standing splits, hands down, right leg up, kick strongly. Exhale, tap the right knee to left calf. Kick the leg out to the right hand side of the mat and set your right hand down on the right hand side of the mat or just next to it. Reaching the left hand for your foot that's sticking out to the side. We're in Cleopatra, facing the side of the mat. 2 more big breaths. And so just a bit of a faff about here. So bottom leg, straight leg, draw it in next to the ankle and sit the hips down. Sit the sitting bones down. So seated twist, just negotiate your way into that. So left hand behind the lower back, left hand, right hand up and twist. Lower back lifting, turning back the chest and trying to establish a rhythm of the breath. I think the twist is not easy to get the rhythm going. If it's Vinyasa, we'll go for it. So I think that there's a little bit of a, not a trick, but there's a moment where, I don't want to call it a cheat, but it helps. Hooking the right elbow around the thigh, hands come to the left hand side of your mat. Now this is a bit of the cheat part. You kind of just pick up your hips, pressing off the foot and the shin. So you just want to get your center of gravity up a little bit, that's your hips. So as you shift body weight, notice I really up onto the shin, bit of a weird shape, hands down, and it's that elbow hooking around the knee that's the key. Left elbow digging into the left hip, and then the rounding of the upper back, shifting body weight over the hands, and maybe the feet lift. Squeeze them in. 2 more big breaths. It's a long twisting hold if you're still there. Nicely done. 1 more big breath. Come back through to center. Can we get out of this the same way we got in? Let's see. Right hand to the right hand side. Bottom leg kicks out to the side. There's that Cleopatra. So a bit of momentum into the toes. Rock forward and up. Hey, standing splits. Couple of big breaths. Kicking, kicking. Gently step back and down. It's your flow, three-legged or otherwise. Left leg lifts up. High plank to chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, and the exhale finds down dog to immediately drop the knees. Come to a kneeling position or child's pose. Let's just take a sec. Slowing down your breathing now. Noticing that the heart rate is elevated. The mind almost takes that pace with it, but it's quite immediately soothing, I think, to pay attention to it and just show a sense of direction in which way the heart rate to go in, which way the mind rate to go in. Just give a little bit of a pathway there through the breath. And eventually, heart rate and mind will follow. So a smoothing exhale, a slowing breath, and it's not all at once. It's over a few rounds. You can imagine decelerating a car that was going quite quickly. You can't do it all at once. So the faster the pace, the longer it's going to take to slow down. So give it a couple of rounds. Open up the eyes, and then coming towards the floor, so lying down onto the floor, we can get stuck right into the shoulders here before we ask a lot of them. So extend your left arm straight out to the side of your mat, the hand is in line with your shoulder, and then rolling onto your left hip. You might then move the hips a bit more closer towards the middle of your mat. Really letting the knee turn over to the side, letting your breathing settle. Not too long here, just 5 more breaths. And then rolling down, rolling out. Pretty immediately coming out to the other side, even though you can stay flat for a second if you wanted to. And then when you feel ready, rolling over, turning the hips over, moving your right hip, the bottom hip, a bit more closer towards the middle of the mat, and then letting your left knee tilt out to the side. Some smoother, slower breaths now. Couple more breaths, nice and smooth. And then gently rolling down, coming out. We'll just take a little pause there. A couple of breaths. And then starting to lift the chest just a little to come onto the forearms into Sphinx. And on our way towards straight jacket, and it's very descriptive of what it feels like, I think. So right arm threading underneath the left armpit, and then the other arm doing pretty much the same thing. So crossing the left arm across kind of the throat or the chest. And now for some of us, bringing a block, which feels so far away from me right now, just over there, bringing a block underneath the forehead might be great. If you're comfortable enough to rest your chin on your arms, go for that. But I mean, if it's not the most comfortable position, I mean, some of us have boobs, so it's a thing, right? We're just working with anatomy. If that's the case, the right arm is crossing under, and the left arm reaching out in front of you, and then letting the chest drop down. So lots of options just to work with wherever you're at. The idea is to feel it through the back of the shoulders to the side of the shoulders. They're called the delts, the deltoids. Some of us might feel it in towards the middle of the back, those set of muscles between the shoulder blades called the rhomboids. Either way, there's a little heaviness coming to the left-hand side of your body, the left-hand side. And we'll just take 3 more breaths here. Gentle exit. So unwrapping the left arm first, if it's there, bring it sort of out in front of you, and then you can really take your time using the left hand to just sort of roll a little more to your right, get the arm coming up and over the head, and then releasing the chest down. Just take a couple of breaths and we've got one more side to do there. Alright, back to forearms. And it's the left arm now threading under the right armpit, crossing the right arm over. And if anything here, you're lowering weight onto the right hand side of your hip. Just as a demonstration, you know, there are slightly different angles you can take on this. So if I demonstrate, if you imagine I'm on the floor, the hand or the arm coming straight across the body is perfect, but you might feel it differently if you take it down a little bit more or take it up a little bit more. And to me it feels like sort of pushing the upper body over the arm or back over the arm, and you'll feel it roll and load up in different ways. So play with it, explore it, find a few fibers in the shoulder that need some attention, and then gift body weight to it, gift that kind of gentleness, that soothing. It's a whole mindset that's being gifted to the posture. We'll just probably take 3 more big breaths there. Nice and soft through the throat, the belly, and the hips are getting heavy. Probably just 1 more breath now. Gently rolling out onto your left and then onto your right, releasing the arm however you can, just laying flat for a moment, and when you feel ready, come back through to child's pose. If child's pose is not your favorite, just come to a kneeling position, eyes closed nonetheless, just letting the shoulders be completely relaxed. 1 or 2 more breaths there. Now, a very brief hold in Ustrasana, camel. More of a preparation for heading towards Mayurasana in just a minute. Lift up the hips, tuck in your toes, 5 breath count, that's all. Squeeze the glutes, belly in, sandwich your spine. Lift the chest and grow taller. If you're going to go hands for heels, do it now, and we'll start the breath. So squeeze the glutes, suck the belly in again and lift the chest. Smooth exhalation. If the chin is opening, push the head back and then drop the chin open. Don't just drop the chin. I'm going to keep mine in for just 2 more breaths. Inhale, lifting up. You can sort of send the hips down and press to sit down again. 2 or 3 more breaths. And you know what? I'll show you where we're going to go while you're taking a little breather. So, Mayurasana is a tricky shape. It's this arm balance where we dive or dig the elbows in towards the belly space, or as close towards the pelvis as possible. So it's not the ribs, it's a little further down. And you feel and notice already that as I start to create that position or the shape with my hands, immediately my back starts to round like a turtle, and we really want to emphasize that particular position. This position in the back is very powerful for our body to push something away. Like if I was going to force something to push it, that movement and that arching of the upper back helps that power. In the same way, in the opposing way, if I was going to pull something like a row, I want to draw my shoulder blades back and broaden my chest. So that pushing action involves that. For a lot of us, that's quite a new feeling, and it might take a little bit of time and engagement to build that particular strength. So the idea is just keep the spine lifting through the shoulder blades, or the tops of the shoulders, the fronts of the shoulders rather, rolling forward and in. It's a pushing action. So one of the positions that's really critical to this is what we've been talking about, the rounded upper back. Now I'll give you a little demonstration of what the pose looks like, and then we'll break it down. But the hands come onto the floor and the fingers face backwards. So it's really taxing on the wrists, and it does require some forearm, some wrist strength, some hand strength as well. So the hands down, elbows digging into the lower belly, and we'll go through this. The forehead comes down, the feet step back, the knees nice and straight, and then the first step is just to lift the forehead. Now we'll go through it in a little more detail, how to lift the feet, but let's break it down. So if you come to a kneeling position, separating the knees, taking the hands out in front of you, forearms together, palms curl down to the floor, and the fingers back towards the hips. And so from there, we set up this really critical position straight away. As you lift your hips up, you sort of curl into yourself, rounding and emphasizing the upper back. I imagine my head diving between the knees. And as you dig the elbows towards the lower belly, start to place the forehead down on the floor. Now right here, arch your upper back again. So you can see my upper back comes up a little further, and almost more like the crown of the head comes down to the floor. Now one foot steps back and then the other. Now for some of us, just lifting the head here is going to be enough. But if you can, take a rest if you want to now. The trick to getting into the full arm balance is this little bit of momentum. So it's taxing on the wrists for the initial moment of this, but it helps the entry to the actual arm balance to get the flight time. So the hand is pointed back, and I'll show you just without my legs there. So what we do is pull some body weight back over the wrist, over the fingers, and then push off the feet to push the body weight forward, and that should create a little bit of momentum to get the legs lifted. Now, don't necessarily want the elbow forward of the wrist too much, although it can do. You're looking to stack it. So if you just pull back like an inch, and then push it's just that little bit of launch into it, and I'll go through it with you. So hands down, fingers back, rounding the upper back. You've got to really emphasize that. Elbows deep towards the pelvis, not the ribs. Head on the ground. Feet back, wide stance. Hug the elbows together, head up, pull back, and then pushing forward and keeping the legs nice and wide. I'm not going to go crazy with it today. My wrist is just a little bit funky and still recovering, so not too bad, but I don't want to push it. So try that out. All the information is there. Thighs nice and strong. Keep the thighs tight. Head up, rounding the upper back. Give it a few tries. And hey, that one's going to take time. So gently on yourself, mentally gentle on yourself. And let's carry on. I'm sure you did an amazing job. Any amount of progress towards that, and just setting that position in the shoulders is so healthy. Let's come down to the belly. All the way down. Release, and then just coming up into Sphinx, a bit of a counter pose. In this Sphinx, sink the belly, let the shoulders draw back a little bit. And if you wanted to come up into Seal, hands wider, lift the chest and push the ground away. You might then walk the hands back. Again, relax the belly and soften the shoulders. Just 3 or 4 more breaths. coming back through to tabletop and into downward facing dog the gentlest way that you possibly can. And from downward facing dog, sliding your right shin forward to come into half pigeon. So up behind the wrists. Send the left leg back a little bit. Lift up the chest nice and high. And then really bring the chest out and over the front leg there. As you come down to hands, elbows or beyond that. And settle in. Allowing for the shoulders to relax a little bit more. Cultivating a nice smooth exhalation. Quite expansive on the inhale now that we take some longer and more spacious holds. So the breath can reflect that kind of mood and intensity of the practice. Just take maybe 3, 4, 5 more breaths here. Nice and gentle, connecting one breath with the next. And the next breath or two, start to lift up the chest and then bring the back leg up next to the mat. We're coming towards half hero here or something similar. So roll out the left calf, draw the left leg in, and then as you point the knee forward, have just a little tuck on the tail. And we're not going to hold this for very long. So come down to elbows, possibly a little bit beyond, but even if you're capable of going onto the back, maybe just work with the elbows today since we're staying for such a short time. And just have a little tuck of the tailbone here. So a little tuck of the tailbone. And if you did want to intensify in any way, start to lift the chest like you're in fish pose and squeeze the elbows together. You can keep looking up, or you could drop the chin open, but I think it's nice to look up or forward. We're only here for 2 more breaths. And then pressing your way back up. Now see if you can keep this left leg just as it is. I'll turn towards you. And now bring the right foot either inside that thigh, kind of taking it out to the side a little bit. Alternatively, half lotus. If that's capable, if that's comfortable, take it now and we'll all twist to the right. So the left hand catches the thigh either way. And if it's the half bind and searching for the big toe, there it is, searching for the big toe, we lift through the lower back and twist. And if not, that's an extreme position. If not, foot inside the thigh, hand to the outer right thigh. And then twisting nonetheless. Your right hand is behind the lower back, sort of keeping you lifted and propped up. Just taking 2 more big breaths here. And then coming back through to center. Kick your right leg straight out to the side. Now, you could keep the left leg like this and take our side bend. Right hand onto the thigh and reach over, but this leg might have had enough. So welcome and absolutely perfect to bring the left foot inside the right thigh. Either way, front foot up, right hand down, left hand up, reaching for the ceiling before you're heading over for the foot. Now keep the inhale now a little bit slower. Slow down the inhale and keep a sense of lift through the side body as you exhale. And hopefully you feel that elongation being encouraged as you lift and exhale. 1 more breath. Lifting up. Left hand just behind the hip for stargazer. Rock up onto the shin. Reaching the opposing direction up over the head. 2 big breaths here. And release. Coming down nice and slow. Raise up the arms. Turn towards your right leg a little bit deeper, or a little bit, there's more of a rotation on the chest towards your right before you start to fold. So almost like the left arm and shoulder are coming down towards the pinky toe. Now if it was there for you, left hand to the outer blade of the foot, thumb turns down, and sort of draw yourself across the leg. And maybe you're going to feel it in a slightly different way across the left side lower back, around the hip region, around the crest of your pelvis. And just keep on working on that sensation, keeping a sense of lift through the lower back. So it's a constant lifting upward, forward, and then slightly to your right. It's just a sense of direction to maintain. We stabilize the breathing pattern now. Now 3 more to go with a real nice softness mentally attached to the breathing. Last breath here. Next inhale, chest lifts up. Go ahead and cross at the legs, cross at the ankles, and roll over the knees. You could sort of hop a little bit off the toes and shoot back into chaturanga. It's not the easiest little thing, but it's an option. A little pop and shoot back to then find up dog and into down dog, or please step back nonetheless. As you're ready, sliding the left shin now up behind the wrists into half pigeon on the other side. Make sure you do send the back leg a little further back and just anchor the left sitting bone down, whether it's on the block or the floor. A lift of the chest, and then take that length and over, draw it down and over the front leg. And you really bring upper body softness. So notice that there's that gripping and sort of a self-protective mechanism of the muscles tensing up around the hips to not send you in too deeply. And just by bringing awareness, the depth of sensitivity to the shape, immediately that superficial tension can soften. So here, as you find your static shape, you find stillness somewhat in the body, then transfer your attention to your breathing and allow that to be this almost contrasting, very mobile and dynamic element of the posture. The posture's changing and flowing and moving all via the breath, even though the silhouette of the body might be completely still. We'll settle in for a few more breaths here. Two to 3 more breaths now. Chest lifting up. And to the right knee, the back leg coming up beside the mat. We'll organize the legs for half hero. Left leg out straight. Right knee starts to point forward. And so I really think a lift of the tail, tucking under just a little bit, really helps. And just down to elbows. You could be on palms. Just down to elbows. And then just like fish, push the chest through the shoulders and feel like the elbows are drawing back and pinching together. So nice and arch through the upper back. The chin can stay in. And we'll just take another few breaths, maybe 3, maybe 4. And then release. Coming out, pushing off the hands. We'll keep the right leg as it is. I'll turn to you. Take it a little further out to the right, and then the left foot either comes inside the thigh or you find your half lotus. Either way, right hand to the thigh. Get a little bit of leverage into the twist so that hand is helping. Left hand behind the low back to prop you up. I'm going to stick with this variation for now, and we'll focus a little bit more on the chest. So see if you can draw the shoulder blades back and pop the chest through in a very similar way that we just did lying on the back there on the floor in half hero. So it's a nice proud lifted sort of pigeon chest. 2 more long breaths here. And then release. Left leg kicks out to the side. So you can keep the right leg like this, and it definitely is more intense and a little bit more straining on the knee. Finding your side bend, or please bring the right foot inside the thigh. And starts the same. Left hand down, right hand up. Lean back and reaching up and over for the foot. And then nice long breaths, nice steady breaths to follow. Front ankle, left ankle is nice and engaged, the toes are lifted. 2 to 3 more steady and slow breaths here. Next inhale, I could stay there all day. Next inhale, come on up, right hand just behind the hip for stargazer, rocking up onto the shin. Lift, lift, lift the hips. Big breath in. And release. Bring in the right leg or the right hip just in a little bit more. Raise up the chest, raise up the arms. And as you fold forward, so not down, but forward, reach out and then slightly take it over to the left. So you're getting that elongation through the right side body and then dropping down more towards the ground from there. It doesn't matter how far up the leg you are, the aim is not to grab the foot, that's for sure. The aim is for you to have an intimate experience with this posture regardless of how deep or how shallow you think you're into it. So allow for some sense of presence. That's just to say that you're involved in what's taking place in the body already. So your attention centers. Utilize your breath as a means of encouraging that. We'll take about 5 more here. See if you can visualize the breath coming right down towards the lower back. Smooth on the exhale, not dropping it or dumping it out of the body. Next inhale, chest lifts up. And then this time, taking the feet onto the ground, about mat width apart. Just dropping the knees a couple of times from side to side. A couple of times, just get a little rotation through the hips going. And we'll have a little bit of fun with this one. So feet on the ground, something like happy baby, but you're in a seated position. So the elbows are on the inner leg, and then grab the outer foot, and then lift the heels. And then keeping the chest lifted and the lower back lifted. That's the whole key here. Belly in, start to kick. Start to lift the legs and kick. Maybe if you start to feel comfortable at the top here, we can shut down the eyes. And really trying to pull the chest through the shoulders. Shoulder blades back and down. So it's not just pulling the legs up, but pulling the chest through as if the chest is meeting somewhere between the feet. We'll take 2 more big breaths here. And then right in front of your hips, bring the feet to touch. Interlock your fingers on the ends of the toes. Place the heels down, lift the chest, and then bow forward gently. You might actually walk the sitting bones back, kind of waddle the sitting bones back just a touch there. And you're going to allow that to send the hips underneath you and the chest forward a little bit more. So then bring softness towards the shoulders and into the neck, contributing some body weight to the posture, just assisting with gravity there. Now if you did want to apply a little bit of pressure to the inner thigh, that's fine, but just work with that intensity level and be honest with yourself. You know, there's a point where you'll push hard enough that the body will fight back and start to grip, and that's not really the idea. We're not trying to push, we're not trying to strain. Instead, we're trying to create a nurturing environment where the body simply is allowed to let go, not forced to let go. So the breath, again, there to help, setting the mood and the scene for the nervous system. If you were going to apply a little bit of pressure, maintaining this nice smooth breath, rather than just placing your elbows down on the thighs, you could lift up, point your fingers backwards and do a self-adjust. This is just how I do it on a student if I had them in front of me. Grabbing your own thighs, the thumb on the inner thigh, and then rolling them backwards as you pop the chest forward and just keep the shoulders back. So it's encouraging the spine to be straight
It's a little bit more active maybe than just collapsing into it. I'm trying to take just 2 or 3 more breaths. And then gently lifting up the chest, bring the knees together. Oof. And then rolling down into the back. If you've got a block, keep it with you, or just a cushion, a couple of pillows. Feet on the ground. Drop the knees from side to side, just once or twice each direction. And then bridge pose. Set the feet on the ground, tilt the tailbone up and lift the hips towards the ceiling, squeezing the glutes quite firmly. So suck the belly in. We're just going to do 1 round of bridge. If you'd like to practice wheel, now's a great time to place the hands next to the ears and press the chest up and back. Or alternatively, if you're somewhere in between, heel toe the feet just a little bit further together, not much, genuinely an inch or 2. And then see if we can keep the strength of your right leg, your right glute, your butt cheek, and lift the left leg straight out. So the thighs are train tracking. We'll just take 1 more breath, very short hold. And without dropping your hips, switch it over. Left foot down, so hips are staying, and then intense through the left leg. You'll feel the weight distribute onto the right shoulder now as the right leg sticks out. Hold. That's all about that left leg. Yes, the thighs working on the right, but keep the hips up on the left. Another big breath. Foot down, hips down. Gently does it. Drop the knees together just for a moment or 2, turning the feet or the heels out a little bit more. I imagine a tent, the door of a tent between the shins. 2 more breaths. And then briefly through happy baby. So grabbing the outer blades of the feet, have a little pedal and a kick, straightening and bending through one leg and then the other. Maybe a little rock from side to side. And then coming towards some kind of twist. So I'm going to go with right knee coming into the chest, scooching the hips over to the right before you draw the leg over to the left. Now any other version of a twist is welcome, but in this twist, if you are doing it just like me, start to play with where your right knee is kind of landing. So maybe a little bit tighter towards the chest, and some of us are going to feel it more intensely in the twist. Maybe some of us through the glute and the leg. That could be nice. We work with whatever dynamics are there in the expression of the posture, your version of the posture. And once you've got your spot, soften the belly. Let the right shoulder start to sink down and you get that nice kind of releasing, settling, deep attentiveness to the body. One more breath. Back up through the center. Left knee now coming in. Take it over to the other side. Make sure that the hips are a little more underneath you before you roll out the left shoulder. And again, play with the positioning. This side, for me, is a little bit tighter. And so I can feel the knee isn't quite as comfortable being high up towards the chest. So I send it down a little, and we all have an expression of this shape that's being adjusted, particular to whatever little niggles are there in the body, whatever areas of the body are needing some love, we send it that way in the form of this somatic embodiment of real appreciation for the body. Two more breaths. Let's just take one more breath because it feels so damn nice. Long exhale, soft belly, dropping shoulder, back through to center, knees to chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Have a little sort of movement through the hips, maybe happy baby, grabbing the outer blades again. And then
really just setting yourself up for Shavasana. My suggestion is to take an inversion for Shavasana, just sending your legs up the wall, making your way over towards a wall, sending your legs up, even the back of a couch or over the edge of a couch would work quite nicely. But we can really soothe the body a little extra with the legs elevated. The heart doesn't have to pump quite so hard to return the blood to the heart. So there's some sense of rest there that feeds into the whole theme of what we've been doing in self-soothing through the breath. So maybe the legs are up the wall for Shavasana, maybe you're just laying down flat, and both are absolutely more than perfect. In saying that, definitely give yourself a few minutes at least. If you've got half an hour, take that. That would be luxurious and lovely, wouldn't it? I'll sign off here. I appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Take care. Much love to you. Great to see you again on this channel. See you next time. Namaste.